Hey everyone, I'm Lee Jacobs, and just coming to you today with a quick interview, or that could possibly be a longer interview with Annie, who's been working with me now from coming on board as a client for herself with her own pain to all the way through to learning my system, and come on today to kind of talk about her journey and her mum's journey, who knows nothing of this at all, and what's kind of been changing for both Annie and what Annie's seen with the changes with her mum. So I'm the creator and founder of the Human Awakening program, which I use the quantum reality healing within that. Although quantum reality healing is kind of one aspect of the overall human awakening experience and program or methodology a modality that I actually have created from being sick and tired of being trapped in the healing loop and finding that some of the modalities that I do worked for most people, and most of the modalities that I did worked for some of the people, and never really found one that actually worked for everybody, for everything, regardless of what it was. And up until now, I can safely say that what I found actually is working for everybody. I haven't experienced every single illness and ailment and problem and challenge and disease as such that's out there to date, but I am very much open to and wanting to test it, definitely, to find out one that we actually can do that works on all of the people all of the time, regardless. So this is Annie. Annie, if you'd like to kind of give us a little introduction about yourself and how we started and so on, that'll be awesome.
I first met Lee through a free consultation. From that, I decided to do the healing transformation that was being offered at the time. And at the end of that, it was clear to me that I wanted to go on and learn what Lee knew so that I could learn how to continue healing myself and getting ongoing results in that area, and also be able to heal my mum. I care for my mum. She's 97 and coming up 98 very soon, another 4 weeks.
Yes, I remember you telling me that the other day, actually. She's going to be 98 next month. That's crazy. February 2025, for those that are watching, she's going to be 98. That's insane. Go on, sorry, interrupt you, carry on.
And I can honestly say that I do feel like a different person. Yeah. So there's a lot that's happened in this last year. Yeah. I've gone from feeling depressed and trapped and stuck and in a really difficult situation where I'm having to care for my mum, which I want to do. And I know that that's my purpose. I'm very aware of that. But just having to be the go-between, because all the family want to come and see mum, and having to deal with family which I wouldn't normally be dealing with, and family who were just trying to make my life a misery. And yeah, so I've now since learnt to be able to deal in all those emotionally challenging and difficult situations in a totally different way that I would never have thought possible before. Yeah. And so I've now feel that I'm a lot more powerful and in control of my life, and feel very much at peace. What Lee's taking me through is just unbelievable. It's very hard to put into words to explain. Yeah.
So you said you were kind of stuck and depressed and so on as well, and with everything that's kind of been going on, like the emotional side of things and everything else as well, some people can quite easily turn around and say, oh, well, all you need to do is reframe it, or we just need to look at like something that's kind of a belief or going into the emotion, like within the subconscious and so on. Do you find that that's what we've done, or was it something different?
Totally different. Because, well, we did do some reframing in that you taught me to give things a different meaning, which is all very well to say, but you need to be in the right space to be able to do that. If you're like, you've helped take my ego out of the equation, and you've increased my energy tenfold up, and I've been able to continue to do that for myself. But initially that just gave me aspirations then to start to look at my life differently and how I can improve my life. And that was just clearing out all past emotional, everything that was triggering me was just removed, and it just, I don't know, made the pathway clearer, well, with the energy as well. like I just started to feel really good. And I mean, I had a few setbacks along the way from family members. Don't get me wrong. I mean, life likes to throw in its little and reminding me that,
Yeah.
yeah, I've got to do more work.
The one thing that we like with when we're clearing everything, the programming and all of that happened previously, like from past stuff, we still can't control what's going to happen in the future. And
No, that's right.
when we're looking at kind of like to expand on that bit kind of as well, the fantastic keyboard warriors out there that are itching to jump onto this as well. Like we still have stuff happen in the future, but when you've got the know-how of exactly what could be controlling an aspect, any aspect of what we're seeing and what we're connecting with emotions wise, then you're able to change that instantly. And it goes much deeper than just, okay, what's a different meaning I can give this? Because when we've got, you like kind of, I don't want to be putting words in your mouth, such, but
Not quite instantly, but how I can deal with that emotional stuff. But basically, what you've really taught me to do, so I can do that, is that I've become very aware of my soul, and I'm very connected to my soul and my higher self. You know, my consciousness. I am my consciousness. You know, and I know that now, and I know that because I'm that, I have the power to do what I need to do to whatever, you know, like it's, I mean, sometimes I get thrown and I have to sort of make sure I'm integrated back in there and get the right thoughts happening, because it's the power of the mind that has the ability to either bring you down or bring you up. And if you let your mind take you down, that's what will happen. Yeah. So it's
yes,
connecting in and bringing in all the unconditional self-love, and you know, and being unconditionally loving to everybody that I come in contact with, and giving out that energy. And that's that all-encompassing kind of like feeling of peace that I get back. Like before, you know, like peace to me was like, oh yes, you can have peace and quiet in the moment. Now this sort of like peace, needs to be another word for it, but everyone's looking for peace, that it's
yeah.
they don't have stress and drama and all the rest of it in their life. And that's what I feel I have now. I can honestly say that I can, yeah, I have an all-encompassing sense of peace within me.
It's kind of like even if you look at, it's actually quite an entertaining film to be fair, but like if you look at Kung Fu Panda, where you've got a little turtle that and the little Sifu that's in there as well, where they both talk about inner peace, and you can't get that inner peace all the time. You've got something revving the engine in the background, and that stuff that's revving the engine in the background that's constantly revving it and revving it and revving it, and you kind of like feel like you're permanently on edge, is where the programming is set initially for us to then take on all of the stuff that kind of goes on in our world as well, like all the indoctrination and everything else that kind of happens that then leads to a different level of programming that's within the software that's already programmed for us, or the running system that's already there. So it's like another level that's laid on top of that we then learn. And when that's not run, when that's gone, because this one here has been reprogrammed, and then that filters through and clears all of this lot, you've not got that. You've got that inner peace then.
Yes, well, so you're starting from a much better place to start with. So then if anything does come along that tries to shatter that, you can override it easily. You can raise, I mean, your vibrations are normally in a much higher vibration and frequency that, yeah, to start with. So a lot of those challenges and difficulties just don't seem to affect you the same. Yeah, either.
No, they don't affect you at all. No, you're right, because your lower vibrational stuff that was running the show before and what was controlling that has all been reprogrammed, and this has all been removed. So now you're permanently at a higher state of vibrational frequency. That means then that those other things that would have or could have affected you previously just aren't there anymore to even do it. So in a sense, you could say that they don't even enter your reality.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
All right. So if we go back to when we kind of started, like, have you had any of those, like initially you came to me for kind of like to deal with some pain, some physical pain that you had going on, right? And it's kind of like the weakest link in the chain, because it's still something that you initially would go, like your body kind of just puts it straight to that point as such of whatever it is that's kind of coming forward. So with what's happening in the future, have you found that there's been any kind of like severe kind of physical pain that since we've done the work that has kind of come back?
I can't say I've had
Okay.
this of pain. No way. No. But I do get some pain sometimes, like when I've overdone it, and I
Yeah.
then can clear it though, and yeah, within 10 minutes usually it's gone. Yeah. Sometimes I have to work on it a bit longer.
Since you kind of been working from when you first came to me with
Yes.
regards to the kind of the pain and stuff, and like, is that pain still there? Because people are going like, oh, it's going to come back, and there's like, it's all surface stuff like everything else. You should get it again twice.
It's not the same, no. Sometimes I'll feel some lower back pain because I've been like on my feet for 12 hours straight or longer, you know. I've done a big long day, or some other pain. I've, you know, woken up, I've slept on my pillow wrong and I might have pain in my neck, you know, just those sorts of things. But I can just straight away ask for it to be cleared, and it can go away.
Yeah. So now, because you followed on with learning how to do this, you now know how to get rid of that really quickly if something like that does happen. Okay.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
And could you give kind of people as well, because I know when I was younger, it didn't matter about standing on my feet for 12 hours or sleeping funny. Like, you just kind of do this a little bit and then you just crack on with the day, and within whatever time frame, like, it would just be gone. But just to kind of give some people some perspective, you're not in your kind of mid to late 20s or early 20s or teens anymore. You're not in your 30s anymore. You've surpassed those eras, right? And I mean,
well, I was 98, so she couldn't possibly have had me after the age of 50. So
exactly.
That.
Well, she could have, but like there is a like a anonymous whatever that word is, but there is a possibility that it may of like, and she certainly didn't have you when she was 60, did she? So you're not 18
no,
or
30, she was 30, 31, yeah, when she had me.
okay. So kind of people can do the math on that one then, to let them know that even though like majority of people on the planet are conditioned into believing that when you get to a certain point in your life, that's it, it's all freaking downhill from here on in. And I'd been even told that oh, it all changes at 30. It's like, fuck off, come on. That's it's ridiculous. So
you produce less stem cells. And
not anymore though, right? We're going to be doing a workshop on that too, so we're going to teach people that bit as well, so that actually changes. So let's look at like your journey was like, we've just to kind of recap it. You came in, you had some physical pain that you wanted me to kind of deal with. You saw some of my stuff and thought, okay, let's give this a whack and go from there. Then you was like, actually, this seems to be onto something here. I feel like I need to know this a little bit more and learn how to do this a bit more as well. And in just that journey alone, because you were like one of the first few that have decided to take that plunge with seeing, and I applaud you massively for that, because there are so many people out there that know you have to have done this for decades and there has to be a stupid load of science to back it all up, and you decided to still take the plunge just off the back of my word and some experience and trusting your own intuition, let's say, with it.
Yeah, and the fact that I'd already had results from what you were doing with me, that was a clear indicator that what you were doing worked. So,
but the journey, like if we look at the journey from when I said to you, we'll get started and I'll start teaching you, what has happened on that journey for you, so people can kind of get an idea without kind of telling them exactly what we did, but just kind of give them an idea of the journey itself and whether it's kind of
what made my decision to decide to do it. Well, I wanted more. I mean, I felt more. I wanted to know that I could clear my own pain, because my pain I knew was probably going to come back if I didn't have the ability to know how to clear it. And my pain was fairly severe, fairly debilitating, and to a point where, you know, I couldn't walk some days hardly, you know, make it to the toilet. And I was desperate in that, well, I need to look after my mum. My mum
Yeah.
needs me, and there's no one else to look after her. And she doesn't want to go in a home or go to hospital. She wants to die at home.
Yeah.
So
So just can I pause you just there, just to recap that a little bit there.
I felt
You hardly walk, you was in debilitating pain. You had this belief that it was going to come back, even though it hasn't. And now you said earlier as well, to put this into perspective, people may have not been able to connect the dots as easily, but you said earlier, like the only time that you do feel any kind of back pain is when you've been kind of standing on your feet, moving around doing that way for 12 hours or more.
yeah,
And so you've gone from hardly to walk to being able to stand on your feet and do all of this and looking after your mum full time without pain
yeah,
for 12-hour plus.
yeah, more sometimes. Like,
Okay.
yeah, like because sometimes I might get a break in between while she's asleep, but generally I'm cleaning up everything to ready to start the next time she wakes up. And I've got to do the day shift and the night shift. And I don't know know about people with dementia, but in the night when the moon's up is when they want to be awake and alert and doing things. Yeah.
Yep. There's a lot
So
of full gardening from the moon on
but
that
the only
one.
time I can get support workers to come in is through the day. So you need to be up and working with them because it takes two people to be able to, do mum's personal hygiene and get everything done. And they come in for 3 hours. And so when I'm working that 3 hours normally, that's 6 hours work. And that then keeps it to a manageable
Mm. I
level.
mean, but again, this is like massive hats off to you. Like, I just because you're in a sense like you're massively pressure testing all the shit that's coming out of my face, like all of the stuff that I'm saying. Like, oh yeah, you can do this, you can do that, and everyone's like, yeah, he's just full of it. But you're pressure testing it, like in the environment. You're like with age as well, in that sense of it, of what people believe should be happening at these ages, and you've gone from like where you was at with it to like something that most carers that are half your age would struggle doing.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And all of the people that I have spoken to that, a lot of the workers that cared for their mum and they said, take care of yourself because and this is like people I was meeting before I started with you actually, and they were saying that the most reason why people can't continue doing it is because they get sick. And everywhere I was running into, everyone was telling me the same. Like basically the main reason why you can't continue to look after your parent is because you get sick and then you have to, and that's the hardest thing in the world to have to then give up doing it because you're sick yourself. Usually,
Yes.
yeah, the stress of it all and just, the physical stress, the emotional stress, the mental stress. But
Hmm.
I was getting really angry with mum because, you have certain expectation of how your mum should be. But obviously, even though she's got dementia, and but with all this work that I've done, I now have unconditional love for mum. She feels it. She just says, "Oh, you're so nice to me." But before she was like trying to kick me, and we still might have moments like that if she's the full moon might cause some, or if someone feeds her sugar, she might have like different
Yeah.
behaviors. But basically, while she's with me and I'm caring for her, we just, just got that. Obviously, she feels the love, and she's healing too. Like so. When I have gone away, she says, "Oh, you went away for too long." She really like, even though she's got dementia, she knows when I'm not there caring.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's remembering parts. More and more of her memory and everything is coming back
yeah, yeah.
to because I remember you saying before where um she she didn't even recognize you, and she didn't
There is time.
she was not able to kind of comprehend what you were saying and so on as well. So we're going to carry on with that in a second. Like we'll just transition to that now in that sense. That like when you decided, yeah, I wanted to do with this, I said to you, the main like we're going to be doing more showing you how to do this so we can do the work on your mum as well, right? So that's kind of what we've been doing. So on this journey, you've been learning not only an aspect of what or everything kind of I'm doing, because from my own memory, my system has massively evolved since like as we've kind of gone along as well, hasn't it?
Yes.
Like it's blown me away that the difference from I thought it was fantastic when you first kind of moved on, and I was like bigging it up and full of beans with it all. And the difference is between where it is now and where it was then is, in my opinion, is like it's you could use the word quantum jump or quantum leap, or I don't know if I'm allowed to use any of those terms. They're all probably trademarked now as well. But anyway, so it's like there's been this massive leap forwards in the evolution of this system.
Together we've kind of, because you've got double the energy that's coming in from our consciousness to work on it, and it's just evolved from there.
Massively. And just touching on what someone else said to me last night about how they connected into what I'm doing. I'm doing some work on them. They're an insanely high level quantum healer, and I've got more certifications that I even knew was possible. And they realized that healing was a trap. Like the more certifications, the whole process was just keeping them trapped. And since doing this work, it's massively changed their perspective and completely sorted some things out for them. And I said to them yesterday, said, well, just feel in and ask, like, is my system? Because everyone like to try and find a comparison, like, oh, it's like this one, oh, it's like that one. And then it just kind of gives us that little bit of comfort that we believe we know. When actually, and I said to her, okay, so connect in and find out if it's like this William Wow person's system. And she, no, it's not like that. Okay, we'll find out if it's like Joe Dispenza's system. No, it's not like that. And I said, so what are you getting? And they fell into it. And she come back and said to me, you broke the matrix. Those were her words that I got. And there was this other part that she said, but there's this bit here that which I'm now working on, that she said that she found as well, to do with the soul and the cycles and stuff. That bit's now been added into the system as well, because that was in a sense a gap that she found. So that's going to be our next chat. So when we first kind of then started, like, let's do some work with mum.
Yeah.
What have you found? Like, what's been going on with mum? Let's move on to mum now and kind of like.
Okay. Yes. Well, I suppose it's been an ongoing thing since I started to learn in April last year how to raise my own vibrations. And so every time I would be doing that for me, I'd be doing it for mum. So each little step that I learned, I started to do for mum. And initially, mum never ever slept, and she would just be talking all night, every night. And so I would be able to tune into her and connect to her and send her, unconditional self-love and fill her heart with unconditional love. And I would do that and just quieten down her mind, and she would just stop talking, and then we'd both get a good night's sleep, and then we'd both be in better mood the next day. So I just kept doing that, but I'd have to do it every night until I learned along the way with you how to reprogram that and clear that out permanently. So now mum doesn't do that anymore.
That's amazing.
So I don't have to go in and, stop her from talking. Now I can refocus on different things. So as it's gone along, there's been little things that fix that bit. There's so many things with mum that need fixing that,
But it's work in progress. Like, she's pretty far along, so it's not going to be as quick as it was like with you or could be with somebody else.
That's right. And even if she can gain, mum's got this goal, she wants to live to 100, whether she does or not. People thought before Christmas she was going to die in a few
Christmas
weeks.
What year, so people get some perspective on this?
Well, both years. That in 2023, everyone thought after mum had a stroke that she was going to die, but we did a miraculous recovery. This is before I met Lee, and mum and I prayed, and mum didn't want to stay in the hospital, and the hospital wanted me to keep mum there, and made me feel like I was going to be a criminal and could go to jail. And have I seen a dead person before? And they took me and interviewed me. I didn't want to leave mum's side, but they took me away. Two people kind of like hammered me with all these questions. And does your doctor know? And do you realize that, you could be investigated if mum dies? Yeah, and held responsible and all this sort of stuff. Anyway, I just knew in my heart of hearts that I had to get mum home. And ended up like they were meant to organise an ambulance and get mum. They just did. This is like we're waiting still at 7 o'clock at night. I found a wheelchair, got mum in the wheelchair, got her out to the car with my sister, and we had to lift her in. All her leg was contorted from the stroke. She couldn't straighten it out. She couldn't walk. She couldn't talk. she could barely say a name. It was like, whoa. So she was. Yeah, she could still drink, and so I figured, well, I'll be able to make a smoothie and get her something to eat. So that's what I did. We got her home. I made a banana smoothie, put everything in it that I thought would make her better, and we, like prayed and with the intention that she was going to be better. We put all furniture around the bed except for the end of the bed so she couldn't fall out because she was, all contorted up and couldn't lay properly. And the next morning I wake up and I hear Mum walking down the hallway. I go, Mum, what are you doing? So that was our first sort of miracle, yeah. So anyway, from there, I realised it's possible. Like the doctor couldn't believe that she could be up and walking around, but in the meantime, because of the stroke, my brother had organised a living wake. Even though Mum was alive, he didn't think Mum was going to make Christmas. According to him and his Thai monk, master monk, that Mum wasn't going to make it. So we had this living wake. Well, that was 2023, and then so I was worried before this Christmas she wasn't going to make it because based on maybe Master Monk had the wrong Christmas, I said to my brother. So anyway, this year, Mum did have a fall. She's had lots of falls since then, and I think 3 broken ribs in that every time she falls, she seems to break a rib. She hasn't broken a hip. She's had huge bruises on her hips that we've had to, massage, use, not infrared, near infrared, light. And anyway, so lots of things that we've done and lots of falls and things as it goes, but she hasn't had to go to hospital for any of them. And but this last one, she just seemed to go downhill pretty badly. But she's with the healing work that Lee's been doing on her in the last, I don't know, month, has really picked her back up. And like last night, she thought that she could get up and come out to the table and have dinner with me out there. And I said, I think we'll just do it in here, Mum, because Mum's still, well, we've got to work on getting her strength back, because now she's got the inclination and the energy, but she hasn't got the muscle strength to move around like she'd like to.
Which is obvious because she's been laying down and doing nothing, so the muscle is just going to deplete. That's the same with anybody. It doesn't matter what age they are.
No, that was mid-November when she broke the last rib, and she pretty much.
So mid-November 2024, that's when that happened. Okay.
Yeah, and I have a nurse that comes and does 2 hours work with me on Wednesday and Friday mornings, and she said, I don't know how to put this, but she said, I don't think your mum's gonna make it till Christmas. She'll be lucky if she does. Yeah.
So you've had multiple people that have basically signed a death warrant here, and she's still kicking and screaming, and to a degree, so to speak, and is still going forward. So you said to me before about her medication. She was different medications she was on, and then you kind of said about her heart rate being so low as well. Do you want to kind of expand on some of that for everyone?
Well, right from when I started caring for my mum 18 months ago, my goal has been to try and get Mum off of medication, because I know that when someone becomes palliative, that's what they do. They take someone off their medication, and they usually say they've got a couple of months, maybe 6 months at the most, to live after they do that. Well, my goal always been, well, we'll get you off your medication before you're palliative, and then they won't be able to do that. So they won't have that to kind of, euthanize her with, because she'll be so healthy. So, and she was on about 6 different medications back then, and I got her off a nicorandil first, which was thick for angina, and then she was on an angina spray. She's never used that. I got her off the diuretic and changed her blood pressure tablet. And not long after we changed it, I had started the energy healing with you as well. And so next thing, that was in April. She hasn't taken a blood pressure tablet since April last year. And when we started, and she has it. And also with all the falls she was having, the doctor was saying stop the blood thinners. So I stopped the blood thinners whenever she had a fall. And in the finish, every time I'd start the blood thinner, she'd have a fall. So I thought, well, I'm not going to start it back up after stopping it so many times. I thought, because every time I start, she has a fall. So I didn't start the blood thinner back up, and gave her other alternatives like krill oil and a vegan one made from some algae thing. Yeah,
Yep.
so her blood's definitely been thin enough. She hasn't needed it. Her blood pressure didn't go up. And then the last tablet that she was on was a beta blocker because she has heart failure and she gets arterial fibrillation when her heart, I'm still trying to work out why she gets it. I mean, they say if they eat too much, but usually after they eat, whether she eats too much or not, she'll get. So, but I now with my healing, I can, over a period of time, if I sit with her and I can bring her heart rate back, but only because Lee's help made me realize I can do that because I didn't think I'd be able to change mum's heart rate, but I can sit there with a blood pressure machine. And so what happened with the beta blocker was mum just had no energy one day and she just wasn't waking up. She's pretty much non-responsive. And so I took her blood pressure and her heart rate was like down around in the 40s and the blood pressure wasn't up. And I thought, well, I can't give her a beta blocker. So I didn't give her the tablet. She'd just been having one every day since I started caring for her. So then I rang the doctor and the doctor said, oh, she's lost a lot of weight. Maybe just give her half. Well, I gave her half because her blood pressure did come back up one night and then a half, maybe 2 weeks later, another one. But that was on Christmas, 2 days, 3 or 4 days before Christmas, the Friday before Christmas, that I stopped the beta blocker. And she's only had 2 half tablets in the first couple of weeks. And now her heart rate with the work that Lee's done has stayed. He asked for a heart rate to stay between 65 and 73. I don't know where he got those figures from, but that's where a heart rate seems to stay.
What was profound about that bit was I hadn't told you that I'd done that part where I said I
No,
wanted to stay, and I programmed that in, and then I said to you, kind of message you and said to you, what's it doing? And you messaged back and said to me, it's staying from between kind of 65 to 73.
yeah,
And that blew me away. That as well. It's like, wow, that's exactly what I'd like, the exact numbers that I'd asked it to make sure it stays between as
yeah,
well. So that's really awesome. And now you're kind of keeping in check with that as well, because kind of then showing you how to add this into your repertoire with it all. You're able to do this on moments as well. So there's been some significant kind of changes that you've noticed since we've been doing the work with her. And I know the messages you've sent me, and I have put most of them up on my Facebook post as well, showing kind of people that like this is possible. Like it is possible to do this. Stop believing what other people are telling you.
Yeah. And
that have been taught the wrong thing.
Yeah, like since you've started doing some extra work on her, has more lucid moments where she's more able to communicate to me. Like even last night, she was saying, "Oh, you're not getting any money for this, are you? You're financially okay, and you're doing so much work for me." She's like, just her self-awareness was just unbelievable because her hearing. Uh, uh, she's saying all this after her hearing got better. Unfortunately, we're just so tired. We both had to go to bed, go to sleep, but because we were both so energized last night with work that Lee had done. But
so we did this on the group call last night, didn't we? So we had the group call. It's now Tuesday. Last night we did, which was Monday night, 7:30 to 8 o'clock in the group. We did the group with everybody else that was in there, and I said, like, I'll add Mum and do some stuff with her as well.
Yes.
And then I did some stuff with her and you'd kind of message me and tell everybody what you messaged me.
You connected something through my heart and then through direct to Mum. So you made like a double, double energy.
Well, it was a double gateway in the sense of like there was you, there was me, and I'd even actually got my wife involved with it as well, and fixed everything around her heart, your heart, my wife's heart, so that all of our hearts were completely 100%, and then us three were then channeling into her as well.
Wow.
So that in a sense probably created like an insane energy loop between us that that then gave you.
Mum hasn't been able to hear me properly for, I don't know, weeks now. And I've been cleaning out her ears and, trying all sorts of things and yellings. And she just look at me and then she'll say something back at me, which make no sense, but sounds a little bit like what I might have said. And and then I just have to give up, and realize I'm just trying to give, like, can you stand up? Can you sit down? So I have to physically, which have to show her what I want to do. Want her to do, just hand signs. And now last night when a hearing came back, she just said, "You're talking properly now."
That's amazing, isn't it? So it was you that was dribbling on for ages that no one could understand. And now you're talking properly from all the work we've been doing. You can hear you. I love that.
So I said, "Well, I think it's your brain that's working better, Mum." And she said, "Oh, well, that's good," because she said, "With my brain will be able to work a lot better now that I can hear things properly." Yeah.
That's
So
cool.
obvious, yeah. I mean, it's part of dementia that your sight goes and your hearing goes. I mean, it's not because your sight's deteriorated through anything happening in your eyes or
Yes.
your hearing. It's all to do with what's happening in the brain.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's changing so
Yep.
that so obviously then those things are starting to come back for her as
Yep.
well. That's
Oh.
crazy. And I remember you saying to me actually a while ago that because there's been a couple of times where we've had some good kind of leaps forward, and then like you said before, someone introduced some sugar or something else happened, and then we've just made a big kind of like regression again because of those certain things. I mean, obviously it's like later on when we're fully healed as such, then having a bit of sugar is not going to be as big of an issue,
Maybe.
hopefully. But you,
Maybe. No. It's something that, yeah, like it, whether or not Mum has that capacity to heal in the time that she's got left. Yeah, like
watch this space, right? Watch this
yeah,
space. There's a mission I'm on for this as well. So
I'm open to see what's going to happen.
it's
Yeah.
going to be good. It's going to be good. But so one of the things I remember you saying to me back then when we did something, and you said like there was this, that she's become like there's been a significant change because she'll start talking about finances. And from what you said a minute ago, like she asked, "Well, you're not getting any money for this. Are you financially okay?" So she's like, from what you said back then, and then she's just repeated it again. So there's again those same changes happening because her focus has gone on to making sure that you're financially sound, so that like, and that's where you said that she was her most kind of attentive and in her best place when
Yes.
then she would then start talking about budgeting. I remember you saying that before with her as well. She brought in that.
Yes, she has. She's brought up, you better write everything down of what you're spending so I can see it. Write it
That's
down.
amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing. So there's been like, some significant kind of changes. And one of the places I've there is something else that controls our senses too. So going in, and we're going to go through that on Thursday or Friday, sorry, this week. That like where that is as well. And that is something that again in this kind of ever evolving, which is like the human awakening system as such, is like, no, I don't know everything yet, and I don't want to get to the point where I do know everything because I think that would be closing me down. So. And I do believe that, like, if you believe you know that, like, everything, and you're shutting yourself off, which is what, like, there's this fantastic saying, like, the mind is like a parachute; it only works when it's open. And it's that same thing that you're trying to push the boundaries out of what is capable within this system. So it's kind of like almost like an open source code as such that can be added on with extra stuff. And this is then when I found out from looking I've these are my old glasses, not my new prescription ones, that I'm trying to sort my eyes out and get them fixed. Maybe it'll never happen. I've not found someone yet that can do it. Even those that talked about it, they're still wearing glasses.
It will happen.
Cool. That's good. So
Yeah.
that was then when I found that part, like there is something that is controlling what is going on with that, with the senses side of things, the smell, the touch, the taste, the hearing, the sight, all of those things.
The sentient part of being human. Yes.
That's when I found that with your mum too. So we've reprogrammed that part with her too. So again, I'm going to keep checking in and kind of watching this space. So is there anything that you haven't told me that's been going on that you found that's been pretty cool? I know you said this morning you were writing notes.
Yeah. That was just to sort of get my head around what I needed to say to start off with. That was all.
And I applaud you again as well for the fact that, like, the first thing you said to me, there's no way that you'd have ever done something like this previous to us working together.
No, I wouldn't have done. No.
So that's a massive step.
I felt when I woke up today. I had to do a lot of. I didn't have to do much. The time I got up, made myself a drink, raised my vibrations, cleared. So can you clear all the pain that I'm feeling? you know, because I hadn't had hardly any sleep, and I'd been a hectic day. I'd been on my feet for over 14 hours. So, you
Yeah.
know, I needed to clear some things, and there wasn't anything hidden like there normally is when I go to clear out stuff. There wasn't anything hidden that didn't want to be found. It was just a few blocks that were quickly removed. And yeah, I was pain free by the time I finished drinking my drink. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. And the old kind of hat of what we spoke about, I remember ages ago you saying to me, like, how to raise your vibrations, you've got to do all of these different weird and wonderful meditational things, and you've got to sit there for decades, or sorry, hours, or it could feel like decades as well. Whereas now, how long does it take you to get you to raise your vibrations? And what are you raising them to?
I can show you now how long it takes. I can just, can you please raise my vibrations to infinite infinity? And there you go.
Oh, there you go. So for people there, that little weird movement that Annie just did, that was a Kundalini kicking in as well. But now, like, it's instant. Like you're boom and you're up there. Not this like a love or joy space or enlightened space, or this I'm in my authentic self kind of vibration. Like, because this is just words that we can give a vibrational frequency, when actually there's infinite of infinite that we can actually take our vibrations to. So there is no end to it. It's just ever expanding.
So straight away, I just feel really happy, and it's just like, wow. And all of a sudden, like, nature just has this whole new enlightening sort of feeling about it. You just, you know, so joyous that the sun's out or whatever's happening on the day. It just makes you so grateful, and yeah, you feel really integrated in with your soul and your self, higher self. And yeah, it just well,
your higher self now is just you.
Yeah.
There is no differentiation. We can say it's our higher self because we're in such a shitty low frequency most of the time, or we've been indoctrinated into that. So let's just, like, you're kind of up here all the time. So there is no, that's just self.
So when I love doing it, raising my vibrations when I'm in the pool swimming.
Yeah, and that's awesome.
On my back and just lying, and just soaking up the sunshine or whatever. And then I don't know, while I'm swimming, then I do a whole heap of other thought work, I suppose. I use my mind to do a lot of things, because while you're in the pool swimming, there's not much else you can do. So it's an opportunity for me to use my mind, clear everything for me for the day, and connect in with mum or whoever else I want to, and do my work then. And I do some when I wake up in the morning, and I do some at night. But basically, it's just I always raise my vibrations first, and then feel good and
set yourself up for the day.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you massively for taking the time out of your day to do this little interview, to kind of help people to get to know a little bit about your journey and your mum's journey as well. And those that are still here that didn't kind of decide to switch off early because they lost concentration. And so those that are still here listening, those that are still watching, those that are still on board, haven't lost concentration and have flicked onto something else to get a different dopamine hit, then like, congratulations for sticking it out as well. And hopefully we can get you kind of to inquire a little bit more about this and how it can actually help you as well.
Say that anyone's thinking about it, I very highly recommend Lee. He's very genuine and heartfelt in all the work that he does, and the results that you're going to get will blow you away. You just, you'll be just a different person.
Thank you.
You won't regret it, that's for sure. It's every cent's worth it. Yeah.
Thank you. That's nice to hear. Yeah, and like I'm kind of like, lost now what to say. Let's just kind of finish up there.
Yeah.
Thank you. There's different ways of contacting me as well. So follow wherever this link, or wherever the link is, that whatever platform this is on, and just kind of, there's going to be something in the bio. There's going to be kind of like a somewhere. You'll figure it out. You'll get hold of me if you really want this. Message me.
Can you put your name and website up?
We can put that on the details. So there's going to be links everywhere. So we'll make sure that you can get in touch with me. All right. So we'll finish up there. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Lee.